I was talking about the benefits of fiber, and I really wanted to use the phrase, soluble fiber enhances satiety and regulates blood glucose and lipid levels. But I know that at that time, the reporter who I was talking to, who by the way was a brilliant writer, would have just gone to the next person for a more digestible quote, so to speak. I know she would have preferred for me to just tell the same thing in words like her mom could hear it or her dad would understand. So instead I said, eating foods that contain a certain amount of fiber, as in oatmeal and beans, can help keep you feeling full longer. It could balance your blood sugar and may even help you to lower your cholesterol levels. Eating more fiber will be a moving experience. You know what? That was a game changer for getting quoted. And when appropriate, a little humor doesn't hurt either. So if you find yourself slipping into science speak, here's the trick. 1, ask yourself, would a 10-year-old understand this? If not, simplify. Well, hey there. Welcome to Media Savvy, the podcast that gives you a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to get noticed by media and become the go-to expert that they keep coming back to. I'll be sitting down with successful writers, producers, and entrepreneurs to learn the tools and tactics they use to build their reputation and in turn boost their business. I'm your host, Bonnie Taub-Dix, and I've been working with top-tier media outlets for more than 30 years, anywhere from traditional print publications to online and social platforms. And I'm sharing my nutrition guidance without gimmicks. But you don't have to be a dietitian for this podcast to speak to you. Through my one-to-one conversations, you'll learn how to build a strategy to get your name in the news and establish yourself as an authority in your field, no matter what the industry. With Media Savvy, I'm on a mission to inspire, motivate, and empower you to have the confidence and tools you need to shine in the spotlight. Are you ready? Let's get Media Savvy. Hey there, welcome back to the Media Savvy podcast. I'm your host, Bonnie Taub-Dix, media coach and someone who's been in the media world long enough to see what works and what doesn't. Today we're talking about the 3 media mistakes holding you back and how to fix them. And if you're interested in seeing your name in lights, or at least in a byline, and you've ever wondered, why am I not getting quoted in articles when I know my stuff? Why do my TV podcast interviews fall flat? How do other people seem to get so much media coverage while I'm stuck on the sidelines? Then you know what? Stay with me, because today we're breaking down 3 of the biggest mistakes that I notice really talented people are making in trying to work with media. And more importantly, we're talking about how to fix them. Let me give you a perfect example. In my media training business, I work with dietitians and health professionals all the time who are eager to get into the media, but they get stuck. Not because they don't have the expertise, but because they don't know how to translate that expertise into clear, media-friendly communication. These are fixable mistakes, and once you get what's holding you back, you'll be amazed at how much more confident and effective you could be in interviews and articles, and even in your pitches. All right, so let's get to it. Media mistake number 1, jargon overload. All right, first up, it's this jargon overload that is a biggie. As dietitians, we're trained to be precise with our language. We use terms like macronutrients, insulin resistant, probiotic diversity, antioxidants, and lipid profiles. You know, that's great when we're talking to each other, but guess what? The general public has no idea what we're talking about. Really, even though they're familiar with the terms, they don't know what they mean. Oh, sure, by now a lot of people know that they're good for you, but it doesn't mean that they really, really know what they are, where to find them, or even how to consume them. I remember one of my first media interviews years ago. I was talking about the benefits of fiber, and I really wanted to use the phrase, soluble fiber enhances satiety and regulates blood glucose and lipid levels. But I know that at that time, the reporter who I was talking to, who by the way was a brilliant writer, would have just gone to the next person for a more digestible quote, so to speak. I know she would have preferred for me to just tell the same thing in words like her mom could hear it or her dad would understand. So instead I said, eating foods that contain a certain amount of fiber, as in oatmeal and beans, can help keep you feeling full longer. It could balance your blood sugar and may even help you to lower your cholesterol levels. Eating more fiber will be a moving experience. You know what? That was a game changer for getting quoted. And when appropriate, a little humor doesn't hurt either. So if you find yourself slipping into science speak, here's the trick. 1, ask yourself, would a 10-year-old understand this? If not, simplify. When I got my first regular writing gig, it was a major newspaper. My editor said to me, just write for the 4th grade and everyone will understand you. I thought that was an exaggeration, but I took her words to heart, and I wrote for them for about 3 years. Use relatable analogies. Instead of hydration is key for optimal metabolic function, say, think of your body like a car. Water is the fuel that keeps everything running smoothly. Kind of something like that. Test your language on a friend or family member who isn't a dietitian or health professional. If they don't get it, neither will your audience. Unless, of course, you're writing for a scientific journal, that's a different story altogether. One of the quickest ways to lose an audience is by making them feel like they don't understand you. Your job is to make your topic approachable and relatable, not to prove how much you know. They'll look at your credentials, they'll know what you know. But you have to speak their language. When you master this, media outlets will love interviewing you because their audience will actually get what you're saying, and you'll be providing value. Mistake number 2. Lack of confidence. This next one is something I see all the time, a lack of confidence on camera or even in written interviews. I can't tell you how many incredible people, especially dietitians I've worked with, who know their stuff, but they're freezing up when they get in front of a microphone. Suddenly, they overthink every word, second-guess themselves, and end up either rambling or barely saying anything at all. And listen, I get it. I remember my very first live TV interview. My heart was racing. My hands were sweating. I was a bundle of nerves. But what I learned over the years is that confidence in media comes down to 2 things: preparation and practice. So here's how to fix it. 1, know your sound bites. Reporters and producers love guests who can deliver quotable moments. That means short, snappy statements that make a strong point. Instead of giving a long-winded answer, use words that can paint a picture your audience can visualize and remember. Back to that fiber topic we were talking about before. When trying to show that fiber is good for digestion, you could just say, fiber is like a broom for your gut. It sweeps out waste and keeps things moving. Now that's memorable, and it's a visual. Number 2, practice, practice, practice. Don't just think about what you'll say it out loud. Say it in a mirror, especially for TV or video interviews. Record yourself answering common questions and listen back. Do you sound confident? Are you pausing too much? Do you use a lot of unnecessary words like like, and Are you over-explaining? This kind of self-review is so helpful, and I literally do this all the time. Sometimes I do it multiple times, especially if it's a TV interview. And by the way, I always ask a reporter for their questions ahead of time so that I could be fully prepared. I don't always get them, and sometimes they go rogue and totally ask me different questions than they said they were going to ask me, but at least I get an idea of the direction that they're going in. And I know this is something that I've said so many times before, but it's worth mentioning it again. To help calm my nerves before an interview, I always ask myself the 5 worst questions I could possibly get asked, and I research the answers. This way I don't have to pray that they don't ask me those questions, and instead, I can be confident about answering them. Number 3, control your nerves. If you feel jittery before an interview, try these 3 quick tricks. Breathe deeply. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Sip some warm tea. I personally love throat coat tea before interviews. It soothes my throat and helps with dry mouth. I usually have it accompanying me on every podcast. Smile. Even if no one could see you, smiling naturally makes you sound more confident and engaging, and you'll feel like you're having more fun. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. Okay, let's talk about mistake number 3, not knowing what to pitch. This is huge because even if you're a great communicator, you won't get media coverage if you're not putting yourself out there in the right way. In my media trainings, I hear this also so often. Something like, I'd love to be featured in the media, but I don't know what to pitch. The good news? Media outlets are constantly looking for fresh, expert-driven content. They have space to fill, and we have valuable science-based messages that deserve to be heard. It's a symbiotic relationship. They need credible sources, and we want to share evidence-based insights with the public. The key is knowing how to position yourself as the expert that they can always turn to. When you understand what the media needs and how to present your expertise in a way that's engaging, timely, and relevant, you could stop chasing opportunities and instead, media will start coming to you. That's exactly what happened to me, and that's what I help dietitians do in my training sessions. There are a few ways that you could also fix this problem. One is follow the news. If there's a trending topic in nutrition, like a recent buzz about ultra-processed foods or the new FDA labeling laws, jump on it, take a stand, assess how you feel about it, do research about it so that you can be an expert who could talk about it. Journalists are always looking for timely, credible, and expert commentary. And before you pitch something, also be sure you're familiar with that particular publication so that you know whether they just did a story on the same topic, so that this way what you're presenting is new and fresh. Make it specific. Don't pitch something like, I'd love to talk about heart health, and instead pitch, I can break down the best high-protein cereals for heart health. Also, don't just say something like, I could talk about weight loss. Really, that's not exactly specific. Instead, pitch, I could break down the biggest weight loss myths and what actually works based upon science. In other words, the more specific your pitch is, the more likely it'll grab attention. Another thing is use numbers, but not too many. Ever notice how so many story headlines start with the 3 best foods to fight inflammation, or the 10 biggest mistakes you could make at the grocery store, or 5 foods in your fridge you should ditch right now? Be truthful, but add a little shock to the title. Avoid numbers like 20% of women take vitamins 77% of the time, and 50% of them take calcium. What? What was that? That's way too hard to listen to. It certainly can't be understood, and most importantly, it will be followed. Another thing is it's so important, and this we've talked about before, and I'm going to talk about it again, is you need to build relationships. Follow journalists on social media, engage with their content, and when you pitch, make it short, relevant, and valuable for their audience. I really, again, emphasize their audience, because if you don't speak their language, they'll take a pass on whatever you have to say, even if you think it's valuable. And remember, if you wait for media to come to you, you'll be waiting forever. Be proactive. So just to wrap up and a little call to action for what we're talking about here, let's do a quick recap. 1, speak in simple, relatable language. 2, boost your confidence with preparation and with quotable sound bites. 3, get proactive with pitching and be very specific. If you take anything from this episode, let it be this. Media is one of the most powerful ways to grow your audience, grow your influence, build your business, and share your expertise. So don't be left out. Get quoted in media and be media yourself. And listen, I know this takes practice, but you can do this. The truth is, no one is born media savvy. It's a skill you can develop with the right audience. And that's exactly why I created my media training business, to help experts like you feel confident, credible, and control when working with media. If you're ready to step up your media game, I have 2 ways that I could help you. 1 is my media training course. It's called How to Work with Media and Make Media Work for You. This will walk you through the exact steps to land media opportunities, craft compelling messages, and deliver interviews like a pro. You'll get real-world strategies, insider tips, and the confidence to get your name out there in a way that feels authentic and impactful. A lot of people don't know that I also do one-to-one media training sessions. You'll get personalized coaching to help you fine-tune your pitches and prep for interviews, sharpen your media presence, and I'll give you tailored feedback and strategies. You can find all the details in the show notes, and if you're not sure which to start with, please reach out. DM me on Instagram at BTDmedia or send me a message to my email, mediasavvybtd@gmail.com. I'd love to help you take the next step. So for today, thanks for tuning in. I hope you subscribe to the show. There are some amazing episodes coming up that you won't want to miss. And until next time, I just want you to know, you look at mighty media savvy today. Thanks so much. Bonnie signing off.